It's that time of the week again when we share with you some of the leading stories in the tech sector. Facebook has rebranded itself with a new name, Meta, seeking to go beyond its role as a social networking site. I have JEE ABBEY LEE with me to tell us more about Meta's virtual race against Microsoft. JEE, it's been a while. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Sun-hee. So in today's segment, we'll talk about how the two companies' plans and progress stack up so far against each other. But before we get into that, let's hear from the firm's top executives. Microsoft's president, Brad Smith, is trying to temper the hype around the metaverse.
We're all talking about the metaverse as if we're entering some new dimension. This is not like dying and going to heaven. We're all going to be living in the real world with people.
Smith was speaking on the sidelines of Lisbon's Web Summit recently and added there will be different metaverse platforms by respective companies. We'll talk about a concept called interoperability in a bit.
What you're going to see is there's Facebook's version of the metaverse. There's Microsoft's version of the metaverse. There will be Apple's version of the metaverse. There will be Google's version of the metaverse. Everyone is going to be entering this.
Right then. Let's first then touch upon Facebook's new name, JEE, Meta.
That's right. So as you mentioned, Facebook has a new name, and that's to highlight its focus on building the metaverse. The word is a portmanteau of meta, which means beyond, and universe. It refers to a collective virtual shared space that combines virtual worlds, augmented reality, and the internet. Speaking at the company's online conference, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said the new name reflected its work investing in the metaverse rather than its namesake social media service. Let's hear from Zuckerberg and a marketing specialist on the name change.
To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
The Facebook brand and the Mark Zuckerberg brand are one. So he is the person who wanted to use this as a platform to tell people about pay no attention to what's going on at Facebook. That's just a small business. I want to talk to you about the future, and I want to tell you how we're going to capture the future. And it's a really tricky time to try to do that.
The branding specialist was referring to criticism by lawmakers and regulators over Facebook's algorithm decisions and the policing of abuses on the social media network.
Hence the really tricky time that he mentioned.
That's right.
JEE, meanwhile, what are some of the similarities and main difference between Meta and Microsoft?
So both companies said users would be able to create avatars or the animated versions of themselves that would move freely between different virtual worlds. For workers, that means attending meetings, hanging out with colleagues, or visiting digital twins of real-world offices and factories. But details of this vision have yet to be spelled out, with the most important being the technical foundations to make it all happen. The firms also need to agree on the terms on which the new metaverses will allow access to avatars that were created elsewhere. This is where interoperability comes in. It refers to a characteristic of a product or system whose interfaces are completely understood to work with other products or systems at present or in the future in either implementation or access without any restrictions. Now, as a first step, Microsoft said users of its proprietary business communication platform called Teams would be able to start appearing as avatars in online meetings in the first half of next year. Facebook, on the other hand, has vaulted straight to virtual reality with an open beta of Horizon Workrooms. It's a free app designed to allow employees to work together in a virtual office via Oculus headsets.
Right. So, JEE, at present, which platform appears closer to what experts would imagine to be completed versions?
So if we have to choose between the two, I would say Microsoft. It has a more gradualist approach and also boasts more users. Some 250 million people use Teams at least once a month, compared to just 7 million paying users for Facebook's software. And before I go, Sun-hee, I have to mention that Arirang is actually very much active and present on Metaverse. On Korea's homegrown platform Zepeto, developed by Naver, you can visit Arirang Town to check out our radio and TV stations like this one that we're in. That's all for me today.
All right, JEE, as always, thank you very much for the coverage.
Thanks for having me.